Hey Mama, welcome to the podcast. My name is Jocelyn, fellow mom of 5, and today we're going to talk about some of the hard truths about pregnancy that can be hard to hear, but also if you know some of these things, it can help you to overcome and to do better and improve. So we are going to jump into it. If you have fellow mom friends who are pregnant or struggling during pregnancy, I encourage you to share this podcast with them. That's how you say thank you. That means the world to me when you share this with others, especially if it has helped you. So thank you for taking the time to share. If you could also give it a rating and review on iTunes, that also helps other mothers who don't have a friend who's heard about this podcast to be able to find it. So if you could do one of those two things or both of those things for me, I would really appreciate it. Hi, I'm Jocelyn, host of the Positive in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast. I help pregnant women and mothers to find positivity in their season of life through changing their thoughts to work for them and not against them. I help mothers find the small, doable steps in thought and action without making drastic changes to their everyday mom life. And I can help you. Thanks for joining. Sometimes my mind just gets thinking about things related to pregnancy, things that I could share with you guys, and things that I have thought about in my past pregnancies, things that have helped me and things that I've had to overcome, things that have been very hard. And the other day, my mind just kind of got going on this, and sometimes after it gets going, I take some notes. And I felt that I wanted to share this with you, kind of what the thought process was about this topic, about the hard truth about pregnancy. And the hard truth about pregnancy is that it is hard. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably know that, or you have felt that in some sense, that it can be very, very difficult to carry these sweet little children inside. It's definitely not an easy season of life, and sometimes people don't relate or don't understand, and you can feel almost judged, which can add to the weight of it, of how hard this really can be. And I wanted to talk to you about some of my own experiences, but also talk to you about your thoughts and how important they are, even though the hard truth is that this is hard. So I think we're going to go through some of the thought processes about it first. The thing about thought work or changing your thoughts to work for you is that it is a choice. For those of you who are religious, it can be easy to want to ask God or to plead with God or to pray to God that He take away some of these aches and pains and the things that you go through. And I have definitely prayed for a lot of those things, thought about a lot of those things. But He doesn't always take away those things. He doesn't get you through it unless you turn to Him or to the upper power or whatever you believe in, and choose to see the miracles that it grants you, that He grants you. This also is a choice to see the goodness in pregnancy instead of always focusing on the bad things. God doesn't come and rescue us. It's a choice that we have to make to turn to Him, to help Him, to have Him help us through the hard times. And then it takes us consciously being aware of it, consciously being aware of Him and the things that do happen, that are brought into your life during pregnancy, that can be the miracles. These are the types of mindset shifts that get you through when you just think this is hard. This is almost too hard. And some days it might feel so hard that you just want to go to bed. And some days you might just lay down in your bed. I have had both. Because thought work has helped me so much in my motherhood and my pregnancy, I talk about it on this podcast. And one of the thoughts I like to think about, especially when I'm going through a hard time, like pregnancy, like morning sickness, like whatever happens in pregnancy, the pains and the aches and the tiredness that can come with it. One of the things that I like to sometimes think to encourage myself is this going to make me better or bitter? Am I going to make the effort to choose that this is a better experience or that I become a better person through it? Or is it going to make me bitter? And I will be honest, it has in the past done both for me. After my second pregnancy, and well, mostly during my pregnancy, I was pretty bitter. It was hard. I was scared. I was fearful. I had a lot of negative thoughts about all the symptoms that I didn't like, which were a lot. I didn't like being fat. I didn't like the nausea. I didn't like being tired all the time. I didn't like the added extra pains. I didn't like being uncomfortable. I didn't like not being able to sleep. And my mind dwelt on all these things. And I really hated pregnancy. It was so hard and I got very bitter and almost to the point to where it made me not want to have more kids, that I was just going to settle with my first two children. But in the back of my mind, I knew deep down, and I've known that I've always wanted to be a mother, and I've actually always wanted to be a mom with a lot of kids. Pregnancy stopped me in my tracks, and I thought two was going to be fine because of how hard it was, and also how bitter I had become about dwelling on all the hardships of it and not letting myself see the light and the beauty. If you let yourself just dwell on all of the negative things that pregnancy brings, like I did, that's what it's going to bring, and it's going to turn you bitter, and you probably won't want to have more kids. One of the main reasons that I have been able to have 5 kids thus far is because I have consciously chose to make pregnancy better. And it's not that the symptoms changed or went away. In fact, the annoying nausea phase got worse every pregnancy for me, or has gotten worse for every pregnancy. And it's awful. I hate that phase. It can be very hard. And there are days, even with this 5th pregnancy, that it was hard and I was bitter and I felt somewhat hopeless. But there were other days where I actually implemented my own course, where I implemented the positive things that I taught, and it made me better, even though I still felt sick, even though I still felt fat, even though I still at times felt uncomfortable and tired and frustrated at some of the things that came. As I intentionally shifted my thoughts, it made me better. And like I say, that is one of the major motivators that has allowed me to keep having babies after those first 2, is that I have the choice. I have the choice to make this pregnancy good. I can make it find better things for me, or I can allow it to turn me bitter. And I wanted to be better because I wanted children. I wanted to grow up having a lot of children around me. And when I'm an old lady, I want to have a lot of children to be able to come back and visit me on occasion, and just to nurture and care for them has always been something I wanted to do. As you strive to make this a better experience for you, you are going to find the miracles that pregnancy is, and the miracles that pregnancy brings through other people, and just so many little things that can happen that can make it better. But if you're not looking for those miracles, if you're not choosing to believe that you're going to find some miracles, and if you're bitter about it, it's going to be hard, really hard to find some of those miracles. I remember when I was sick with my 5th pregnancy, just about a year ago, I was very sick. It was the month of October that I was just struggling. There was one day I was sitting outside. I had been crying. I cried almost every day. Heal it to feel it. I will put a link to that in the show notes. Or feel it to heal it. Sorry, I said that wrong. So I was feeling all the negative emotion, and I was just telling my husband how bleak I felt and how I was really going through a tough spot in that day. And later, I don't even know how it happened, but I was just dwelling instead of on all the negative. Actually, I do know how it happened. I chose to go to gratitude because it was so easy for me to think about the negative that I just chose to find things to be grateful. And lo and behold, I had thought of 8 different people who had brought me and my family food over the last few weeks of me being pregnant. Like, what a miracle that was. 8 different people were willing to bring me food, and I was willing to allow them to bring me and my family food. Having a family of 6, that's no small feat, and how grateful I was for that miracle. That people were willing to help out and to, I didn't even have to ask. Most of them reached out and said, "Can I bring you food?" or "I'm bringing you food now." And I was at a spot where I realized I did need a little help. Sometimes it's hard to admit we need help, but the miracle of other people helping us during our pregnancy can be one of the things that helps you to turn better. I think about that miracle and I just want to be that person. Now that I'm not pregnant, now that I am on the other side of that, I want to be the person that takes someone a meal and offers that same service. And it has made me better from that bitter situation and that bitter time because I chose it. I chose the gratitude and I chose to look for the miracles. Now, like I say, I wasn't perfect at this. This is just one example where I tried to be better, but there were days, even with my most recent pregnancy, where I was bitter. And I tell you that over and over because I don't want you to give up. I don't want you to stop trying because it does take time. It does take trying. And there will be the bad days. And I feel like if I sugarcoat it and just say, "Oh yeah, all my days were great and good, and I just changed my thoughts and everything was roses," that's not how it was. But it has made me better. And I have grown to be a better and more caring person through these pregnancies as well. So, overall, pregnancy has, by my intentionality, made me better. And I know that as you choose to shift, it can help make you better too and not bitter. I imagine you want to not only get through this pregnancy positively, but maybe you want to have more babies. Maybe during this pregnancy, the thought of having more babies scares you. But as you start to find the miracles and find the beauty, it will be easier to be better and to feel better about having more after you have had this one and move on and feel better about pregnancy than holding on to all those bitter negative thoughts. It just came to me. It would be kind of fun to see how many times I said better or bitter during this episode. Overall, I want you to try to make this pregnancy better for you. It's not easy, mama, and if you want help, I have a course that can help you. My own course actually helped me significantly in my 5th pregnancy. Like I mentioned, the gratitude. That gratitude is what allowed me to find the miracle of that many people bringing food and so many other miracles. My mini course is called the Morning Sickness Mini Course for Mental Health. I call it Morning Sickness Mini Course because morning sickness was the hardest time for me. But not all of the videos are specific to that. They're basically specific to pregnancy. But as you get good at them during pregnancy, that gets easier to do them for the rest of pregnancy. Did I say that right? I meant to say as you get good at it during the morning sickness time, it gets easier to do it for the rest of pregnancy. There are 44 videos in this course. They are 2 to 8 minutes long, and it encourages mindset work like is in this podcast. It helps women who struggle with pregnancy, but desire to have a strong mental health, desire to find more joy in pregnancy even when it feels so hard. It will help you mentally navigate the hardships of pregnancy and the physical changes. So if you are interested in that, it'll be the top link, one of the top links in the show notes, because I'm also going to put the Feel It to Heal It episode in the show notes this time. So that one will probably be the top link. And then after that will be the link to the morning sickness mini course. They are both there on my website. I also have a lot of free resources on my website, my podcast. I've got a library of pregnancy video or audios from this podcast that actually needs revamped. I listened to one just not too long ago, and I'm excited to revamp that here soon. Nonetheless, they are still good episodes and can still help you through if you would like to check out any of those resources. It's all in the show notes. Mama, I believe in you. You can do these hard things. God believes in you, even if he seems distant. Look for the miracles, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find quite a few. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. And most of all, thank you for implementing these things into your life for more positivity during your pregnancy. Until next time. Thank you for being a part of the Positive in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast, for listening, for sharing, and most of all, for applying these tools into your own life to improve your own happiness so that you can find your own better thoughts for a better you in a positive pregnancy, in losing that stubborn baby weight and becoming the mom you desire to be through taking small steps in thought and action to reach your goals. If you are a mother who has an inner desire to enjoy motherhood and pregnancy better, but you are having difficulty figuring it out, I can help you. I can help you find the small, doable steps without drastic changes to your everyday mom life. Reach out, let's connect, and let's see you move forward. My name is Jocelyn, and I thank you for listening. Until next time.